the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. Police confirms a suspect dead in Port Harcourt. IYC kicks against gas flaring in Niger Delta. DSS rearrests MFLE after bail. CBN raises interest rate to 18.75%. Singapore to hang 2 convicts over drug trafficking. Muslim youths burn Davido's picture in Maiduguri. Morocco to host 2023 CAF Awards December 11. Thank you for joining us on the Global News tonight. Here is a bulletin in full. The Rivers State Police Command has confirmed the death of a man simply identified as Ken in a hotel in Kana Street, D-Line, Port Harcourt, after he booked a room on Saturday night. The spokesperson for the command, SP Grace Iringe Kyoko, responding to inquiry by our reporter into the incident, said the staff of the hotel came to make a report about the sudden death of a guest at the Oluobasanjo Police Division, and the DPO with some detectives went to the hotel where the photographs and preliminary investigations were carried out. SP Koko said the corpse of the man has been retrieved by the police while investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, it is not clear if the deceased lodged in the hotel with a guest or not. The Ijaw Youth Council worldwide says it will no longer condone incessant gas flaring and lackadaisical practices of international oil companies in the Niger Delta region. The president of the council, Dr. Theophilus Alaye, disclosed this in Port Harcourt. The House of Representatives had, at an investigative hearing on Monday, vowed to recover the sum of over $9 billion gas flaring fines imposed by the federal government on airing local and foreign oil and gas companies. Alaye, in a statement issued Tuesday, said gas flaring and venting has been a significant environmental, economic, health and social concern for people of the region for many years. He said his mandate as the 9th president of the Ijaw nation was to promote, to defend and demand justice for the people. Operatives of the Bayelsa State Vigilante Service have apprehended a 4-man gang allegedly involved in the use of charms and voodoo to dispossess POS operators, business owners, and individuals of cash and other valuables in Yenagoa, the state capital. It was gathered that the gang, made up of Ufoma John from Delta State, Igwe White from Delta State, Opeko Kennedy from Delta State, and Sandra Erihis from Rivers State, were apprehended after some POS operators and tricycle passengers raised the alarm on their recent nefarious activities. The chairman of the Bayelsa State Vigilante Service, Dobie Alagba, who confirmed the development in Yenagoa, said the criminal gang had months back allegedly charmed and defrauded one Micah Innocent, a POS operator in the state, of the sum of 400,000 naira and other valuables. He confirmed that the suspects were arrested in Yenagoa and at a small border community between Bayelsa and Rivers State, where they claimed to obtain the charms from a herbalist. The suspects have been handed over to Operation Duapo security operative for further investigation. Renowned elders and leaders of the All Progressives Congress in Bayelsa State have denied the calling for the sack of the interim administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Major General Barry Ndiomo, retired. In a news conference in Yenagoa on Tuesday, the elders said those behind the call are not members of the APC Elders Forum in the state and do not exist in any form. While addressing newsmen on behalf of Bayelsa APC elders, a former member of the National Assembly, Senator John Kojo Baifa, explained that the non-existent group was sponsored to carry out the hatchet job because of the inflicting pain they are going through, and decided to make Ndiomu their target while playing the victim. The APC elders maintained that they are proud of the achievements of Ndiomu in only 10 months in office and would continue to support him to succeed. They particularly commended his effort in introducing worthy and creative ideas like a cooperative scheme for ex-agitators, stating that it would produce the desired result for the benefit of all the Niger Deltans. The Bayelsa West APC stakeholders reiterated that the establishment of the cooperative society would encourage hard work among agitators and deepen the rehabilitation and reintegration of the ex-agitators, which is in consonance with the original intention of the program. The Apex Isoko National Leadership Organ, Isoko Development Union, and the Community Relation Committee has condemned the killings of policemen in Delta State. The condemnation was contained in a separate press statement. Professor Christopher Akmotu, IDU, Isoko Development Union President General, said that the killing of the police has become worrisome and deserves immediate action. On his part, Deacon Kenneth Otunoyo, National Vice Chairman PCRC South, also condemned the recent killing of a policeman in the state. They called for an increase in the number of manpower of the police force for proper policing. The National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Asaba Delta State has nullified the election of the candidate of the Labour Party in the February 25, 2023 House of Representatives election, Ngozi Okolie, as a member representing Anyocha Oshimili constituency of Delta State. The tribunal further ruled that Okolie did not resign from public office to contest the elections. You recall that Elumelu in his petition sought to disqualify Okolie on the grounds that he was not properly sponsored by the Labour Party and that he did not resign his position as a public office holder. While reacting to this, an Atlantic Television Network open conversation, a public affairs analyst, Chief Loveday Okere, highlighted on the responsibility of political parties as candidates' first contact of endorsement based on the Nigerian
Constitution has no provision for independent candidature to run election. Meaning that for you to run any election, you must be sponsored by a political party. And there are rules for which political parties must or shall bring you before INEC, who is the referee, to conduct a particular election, which I'm sure the tribunal may have looked at those areas.
Similarly, a legal practitioner who made appearance on Atlantic Television Network conversation as a political analyst, Barrister Asim Adam, said it is the duty of an opposition to...
These things are not in order. He can rush to court immediately in what they call pre-election matter.
The Delta State House of Assembly has screened and confirmed 9 of the 26 nominees whose names were forwarded to it by Governor Sharif of Brewery for appointment as commissioners and members of the State Executive Council. The 9 nominees were in the list of the first batch of the screening exercise presided over by the Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Ememo Mitimi Guo, on Tuesday. They included Honorable John Onyemachi from Anyocha North Local Government Area, Pats Ajudwa, Oshimili North, Chief Fidelis Tilije, Okwani, Honorable God knows Angele Brutu, Dr. Joseph Ona Jemo, amongst others. The nominees were introduced by members representing their various constituencies at the Center for Infrastructure, Education and Education Advancement. While speaking at the dialogue, Senator Udoma, who said he was impressed when contacted for the event, commended Governor Eno for keeping to his campaign promise of all-inclusive governance.
In preparation for chairing this summit, I have gone through the Arise Agenda Blueprint. I see that the blueprint seeks to achieve 8 ambitious and lofty goals, driven by 5 aspirations, collectively referred to as the Arise Agenda. The agenda delineates 17 focal sectors to guide the delivery of these very much.
Human resources and urged the governor to tap into this nature's endowment for the implementation of the Arise agenda. They express optimism that if backed with action, the well-articulated focal areas of the Arise agenda is capable of transforming the state to become the envy of Africa.
Once you hear that word arise, there's the next thing that will follow anywhere from the Holy Bible to a command to military to paramilitary. Once you hear that word arise, the next thing that follows is execution. So I believe we are all ready to join in executing that agenda that is spelled out for us. And what is expected of us, I can assure you, we must also have that sense of ownership of everything, which is what is lacking in Africa. We lack the sense of ownership. If we have that sense of ownership, this is my own, all of us will make sure that this thing works well. And also, if we create a sense of urgency, you cannot arise. You cannot have.
I want to guarantee our quiet moment. The chairman, I want to guarantee you and all our guests that trust me.
Troops of 14 brigades operating under 82 Division of the Nigerian Army have rescued 13 kidnapped victims along Ngodo-Isiochi Road in Umunochi local government area of Abia State. The troops arrived at the scene of the incident while responding to a distress call found that a Sienna SUV and Mitsubishi bus had been attacked by kidnappers. A statement by Brigadier General Onyemawa Chukwu, Director of Army Public Relations, said the kidnappers took the passengers hostage and they escaped into surrounding bushes. The Nigerian Army appeals to all law-abiding citizens to continue to support the troops and other security agencies with timely and actionable information as they combat security challenges across the country. The Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, has debunked reports that traditional rulers in the state would be subjected to a biometric verification exercise to enable the state government to have an accurate number of traditional rulers in the state. There are reports making the rounds that the state government would carry out biometric verification of traditional rulers in the state. However, the governor, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ferdinand Ekoma, described the report as false news being peddled by some opposition elements in the state. He explained that in a bid to ascertain the exact number of traditional rulers and their autonomous communities, the state government decided to carry out a manual enumeration of traditional rulers in the state. He further stated that the exercise would guide the state government in delivering welfare packages for traditional rulers and their autonomous communities. The statement issued that the exercise will not involve any form of biometric exercise and does not require them to gather anywhere, but would be required to fill a form that would contain biodata and other important information. Ogun State government to ameliorate the effect of removal of fuel subsidy and the well-being of good people of Ogun State. The administration of Prince Dapo Abiodun has approved some measures for immediate implementation. In a statement signed by Tokumbo Talabi, Secretary to the state government, highlighted the palliatives. The statement said cash palliative of 10,000 naira for each public servant, including pensioners, to enable workers cope with the economic shocks occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy for a period of 30 months in the first instance, with effect from July 2023, approval of hazard allowance for all health and medical personnel in the state, approval of peculiar allowance for public servants in the state. Other approvals includes immediate release of letters of promotion in respect of 2021 and 2022, payment of March and April 2023 leave bonuses for public servants in the state, amongst others. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break.
Hey, welcome to the StarTimes 35th anniversary celebration. To say thank you to every StarTimes family for being an integral part of our journey, StarTimes has decided to give you a price slash on decoders. Yes, we are slashing the price of our antenna decoder from 8,900 naira to 7,500 naira and the dish decoder from 13,300 naira to 9,900 naira. But that's not all. Existing subscribers can recharge for 2 months on their current bouquet and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet. And if you recharge on the classic or super bouquet, you will receive a fantastic reward of extra 15 days of free viewing. You can enjoy our top local and international content. So, what are you waiting for? Quickly, visit any StarTimes outlet around you to recharge or buy your decoder between June 12th to August 31st to enjoy this fabulous offer. Wow! Yay! Let the celebration begin! StarTimes. Entertain your family.
Welcome back to ATN Global News. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has appointed his spokesperson, Olawale Rashid, along with 29 others as special advisors. He also appointed former People's Democratic Party caretaker chairman and his secretary, Dr. Adekunle Akindele and Femi Karina, as well as a former local government chairman under the All Progressive Congress, Akinat Khalid. A statement issued by the governor's spokesperson Olawale Rashid on Tuesday stated that of the 30 special advisors, 10 are cabinet rank, adding that the inauguration of the new aid will hold tomorrow, Wednesday, at the government secretariat. Other names on the list include Aziz Batmos, Mosudu Yakubu, Stephen Akanfe, Tunde Balogun, Eniola Odeniyi, Muniru Raji, Gadi Olilije, Sheyi Babatunde, and Kamoru Ajisafe. Also, the list has Sunday Komolafe, Tokwe Victor Anjorin, Oyebwade Rashidat, Odelade Sarafat, Moji Omishere, Nuruddin Emioloju, Ropo Oyewale Emiola Afakaye, Yemi Ayodele, and others. Meanwhile, the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has been rearrested by the Department of State Service at the premises of the Federal High Court in Lagos. You recall that DSS earlier arraigned Emefiele on 2-count charge of illegal possession of firearms. Trial Judge Justice Nicholas Oweibo had granted Emefiele bail in the sum of 20 million naira and a surety in like sum. But an earlier attempt by prison officials to take Emefiele into custody as ordered by the court led to the leader of the prison officials being manhandled by DSS operatives. Moments later, the prison officials left the court following the intervention of perhaps and pickup vans while its operatives massed outside the courtroom. A high court in Lagos State has fixed a Friday for ruling in a bail application filed by the SND of Ajao Estate Frederick Wajago. Wajago had on Tuesday prayed the court to admit him to bail on liberal terms. The defendant charged with terrorism offences told the court that he was not a flight risk. Justice Yetunde Adesanya fixed the date after listening to argument from both counsels. The judge adjourned the case until Friday for ruling in the bail application. Wajago was arraigned on May 9 on a 9-count charge, including an attempt to commit acts of terrorism, financing terrorism, participating in terrorism, and meeting to support a prescribed entity. The Lagos State government had in a suit alleged that the defendant had contravened the provisions of Section 402, Section 2 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015. The lead counsel to the All Progressive Congress at the Adamawa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, Akin Olujimi, says suspended President Electoral Commissioner Hudu Yunusa Ari is stepping down as a witness. Yunusa Ari was to serve as the APC's prime witness in its petition filed against Governor Amadu Umaru Fintri as a witness. While following this development, the suspended rec was replaced with another witness, a forensic expert, to make the end of its presentation. Meanwhile, the tribunal has adjourned till August 2nd, 2023 for further proceedings. The Borno State Police Command in Maiduguri underpasses proactive crime prevention strategies and community engagement. According to Yusufu Lawal, during preliminary investigation, all the suspects confessed to the crimes and all the exhibits were recovered. The tricycle used for the conveyance of the goods was impounded and the rider confessed being their accomplice. The Commissioner of Police therefore advised parents to always show keen interest on the type of friends and pet group their children words are associating with who may have negative influence on them. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7, Adebowale Williams, has disclosed that the Nigerian Police Force is repositioning its technical intelligence to ensure proactive policing in tackling kidnapping, insurgency, and other criminalities in the country. Williams made this known during his familiarization visit and interactive session with officers and men of the Niger to improve response time, intelligence, and prompt visibility in policing in the country. He warned the police personnel to protect and not abuse the citizens, as anyone found wanting will face the wrath of the law. AIG Williams further applauded the leadership of the State Commissioner of Police for the recent breakthrough recorded in fighting crimes and criminalities. In the same vein, he thanked Governor Mohammed Umar Bago for the vehicles donated to the command to help ease transportation. Earlier on, Commissioner of Police Ogundele Ayodeji told the AIG that insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping are prevalent in villages bordering Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, and Zamfara State. The command's attention, he stressed, has always been on Mariga, Rafi, Munya, Rijau, and Shiroro local government areas. The Federal High Court in Kano State has scheduled September 22nd to deliver judgment on the case filed by former Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, stopping the Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission from investigating him. The counsel to the anti-graft agency, Femi Falana, on Tuesday, argued that the immunity of the former governor ended on May. However, the counsel to Ganduje in response insisted that due process was not being followed, breaching his fundamental human rights. The troops of Operation Hadarin Daji, a military component, have neutralized 7 terrorists after intensifying onslaught on their enclaves, recovering weapons and other logistics in Mango Subwal in Wanaka, district of Gusau, Zamfara State. The information was revealed by operatives of the OPHD shortly after the troops confronted the bandits in their enclaves, saying that the military would not tolerate continuous attacks on any attempted to attack the troops of Kango Sabuwal village, but operation and successfully neutralized the 7 armed bandits in the late hours of 24 July 2023. The commander of the operation, Daji, Major General Mukuts, has commended the troops for their resilience, gallantry, and act of bravery in dealing with the bandits. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. The President of the National Industrial Court, Abuja, Justice Benedict Kanyip, has dismissed a suit filed by the Academic Staff Union of Universities challenging the registration of the Congress of the University Academics and the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Academics as trade unions by the federal government. While delivering judgment on Tuesday, Justice Kanyip held that Section 27 of the Trade Union Act allows for more than one trade union in employment. He held that the section does not depict a trade monopoly. The court held that the then Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, and the Registrar of Trade Union had the right to register NAMDA and CONOA to coexist with ASU. The court further held that ASU did not present any evidence before it to show the complete registration of CONOA and NAMDA when it filed the suit. The court held the evidence presented by ASU were hearsay evidence because when the suit was filed on October 26, 2022, while CONOA and NAMDA registration had not yet been gazetted in line with Section 523 of the Trade Union Act, Justice Kanyip further held that NAMDA was not in existence at the time ASU filed the suit. President Bola Tinubu has met with immediate past National Chairman and Secretary of the ruling All Progressive Congress, Senators Abdullahi Adamu and Yola Omisore at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Adamu and Omisore resigned last week ahead of scheduled National Caucus and National Executive Council meetings, which were to hold on Monday 18th and Tuesday 19th, respectively. Tinubu, who is the leader of the party, is granted a lot of leverage and influence within the ranks of the APC and expected to determine a lot about the emergence of new party leaders. Though nothing could be officially confirmed about the reason for the visit, it is believed that it must have been part of efforts to sort out issues surrounding the party's leadership. The Nigerian Police Force says no going back on plans to withdraw police mobile force personnel from very important personalities. The force clarified that the decision to withdraw the PMF personnel from escort and guard duties stands and there will be no going back on this critical policy change. While speaking on ATN's Atlantic Blowout, a public affairs analyst, Gogo Wellington, said the withdrawal is necessary except for the public service officials who are fit for special police service.
There are certain VIPs moving around with police escorts and convoys that are actually doing a very, very illegal exercise. Any police officer attached to someone that doesn't have a portfolio with the government that requires police protection is on illegal duty.
He further added that the VIP policing brings shortages in the number of police officers assigned for public security.
This assignment of police officers to VIPs and every Tom, Dick and Harry causes shortage of manpower for the police to actually deploy their personnel to secure the citizens. Security is supposed to be equally spread across board, not for certain persons that are wealthy. Anybody that is wealthy.
In the Federal Character Commission exposed the chairman of the commission, Mohida Dankaka, before the committee. The commission revealed that its chairman used an appointment with her doctor as a ploy to evade the committee's probe. The representatives of the chairman Federal Character Commission, Alhaji Amayau Abubakar, the commissioner for Taraba State, who tendered the The letter sent to the committee said the chairman FCC Muhida Dankaka could not appear before the ad hoc committee due to a doctor's appointment, but the commissioner representing Delta State, Honorable Moses O. Anauge, countered the letter tendered to the committee, revealing that the chairman of the FCC was currently in her office as at the time the committee was meeting, noting that it has been her usual character to evade the committees each time she is called upon.
And the secretary and all the people that this chairman asked to represent are here. Mr. Chairman, sir, I want to put it to them that you've come to this parliament to lie before us. You came before Nigerian people to lie before us. When you know, and you know indeed, that your chairman is in the office. A colleague of yours is telling you that your chairman is in the office, and you brought a letter here to mislead the committee, to lie before us. Mr. Chairman, sir, with due respect, the parliament is the symbol of democracy all over the world.
The ad hoc committee, in a unanimous decision adopted by the chairman Yusuf Gaddi, summons the chairman Federal Character Commission Muhida Dankaka and the 37 commissioners across the state to appear before the committee by 11 a.m. tomorrow, July 26, 2023, to provide necessary records as requested by the ad hoc committee. Honorable, earlier, this investigative hearings is not to which in moderating the rate of inflation. Nigeria's total pension asset has been projected to rise to an impressive 19 trillion naira by the end of 2024. This projection is contained in a report published by the Pan-African Agency. The report said Nigeria has the second largest pension industry in Africa, with assets under management of 16.1 trillion naira as at May 31, 2023, representing a 13.5% increase from the corresponding period in the prior year. The agency said the 13.5% growth was primarily fueled by robust investment returns and, to a lesser extent, by the additional contributions. Mirror industry witnessed a notable increase in the number of new contributors, surpassing 300,000 individuals. It commended the National Pension Commission for its commitment to implementing initiatives aimed at bolstering. Honorable Usman Kumar maintained that the investigation seeks to brainstorm with relevant stakeholders and measures needed to address the issue of gas flaring in the country.
Natural gas is a precious energy source that could be utilized for various purposes, such as electricity generation, heat and industrial process. By simply burning off this gas, we are squandering valuable resources that could contribute to the energy security and sustainability. Moreover, gas flaring has led to a substantial economic loss and revenue decline of the nation. The flared gas represents lost revenue that could have been generated through its sales or utilization. Official records indicate that we lost about $2.5 billion annually to gas flaring. However, the consequences of gas flaring extend beyond economic considerations. It also poses serious health hazards to nearby communities.
On his part, Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee, Honorable Ahmed Mouni, on his part noted that the country loses billions of dollars annually to gas flaring, which would have contributed to its growing economy.
The issue of gas flaring is something that has been lingering for decades. There has been undertakings after undertakings by the oil companies that it will come to a stop, but up to now it continues to linger. So we are here to hear from all sides, give everybody a fair hearing, see where the loopholes are, where we need to tweak our laws to ensure we get optimal results. Be it as it may, we don't have to continue revisiting the issue of how important it is to our revenue drive, how much we need it for our infrastructure, for our security, for education, for health. We can't drive that importance enough.
The invited stakeholders include NNPCL, permanent secretaries of ministries, departments, agencies of government, civil society organizations, and community heads, amongst others. The Nigerian Senate has called on the federal government to halt the proposed increase in electricity tariff by the 11 distribution companies in the country. The upper legislative chamber also stressed the need to allow ordinary Nigerians breathe, insisting that anything that will bring untold hardship on citizens must be rejected. These were some of the resolutions reached on Tuesday after a debate on a motion sponsored by Senator representing Oyo Central, Yunus Akintunde. In his presentation, Akintunde maintained that the discourse have no justification to hike, especially the price of natural gas has not been reviewed.
The Senate is further concerned that the proposed increase will significantly impact the affordability of electricity for the average Nigerians, further exacerbating the financial burden faced by our household and businesses. That less than 1 week time frame window provided by National Electricity Regulatory Commission for comments from all relevant stakeholders is too small for any meaningful engagement. The Senate is further concerned that high electricity tariff will impede industrial growth, job creation, and overall economic development. This will have adverse effects on the nation's drive towards sustainable development and poverty reduction.
Senator Asuku impoverish the lives of Nigerians.
It is important to note that the removal of fuel subsidy has adversely affected the general prices of goods and services within the economy, with a very high rate of pass-through inflation. Electricity is one of the primary factors of production. An increase in electricity tariffs, as currently proposed, will increase the problem of the inflation and compound Nigeria's inflation crisis. While the pros and cons of subsidizing consumption can be debated every day, the benefits of subsidizing production is inherent. Vast multiplier effects in the local economy. I would like to back the motion, which was co-sponsored by myself and aptly read by Senator Yunus Akintunde, by calling on the federal government to intervene as a matter of urgency to halt this proposed increase in tariffs.
After the widely debated motion, the Senate further called on the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to explore alternative measures to address the financial challenges faced by achieving sustained disinflation while ensuring financial stability. And here is international tidbit. Russia will host the African leaders this week for a summit aimed at enhancing ties despite fears in Africa over conflict in Ukraine and the suspension of a deal on Ukrainian grain exports. President Vladimir Putin still has support in several African countries despite being isolated on the international scene since launching the military campaign in Ukraine. At the summit in St. Petersburg, Putin's native city, several African leaders are expected, including South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The summit is the second of its kind after an inaugural one that was held in 2019 in Sochi in southern Russia. European Union heavyweights Germany and France have opposed the push to extend the restrictions on sales of Ukrainian grain exports in 5 Eastern European countries that have enraged Kiev. The 27-nation bloc dropped duties on Ukrainian exports in the wake of Russia's all-out invasion in a bid to help Kiev earn vital revenues. But the EU countries along the border of the global agricultural powerhouse started barring import after their farmers protested that a glut of Ukrainian grain was pushing down prices. Brussels struck a compromise in April that allowed Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia to prohibit sales on their local markets while keeping transit routes open for Ukrainian grain to cross their territories. The measures are currently set to run out in mid-September, but the 5 countries have called for them to be prolonged to the end of the year. German Agriculture Minister Sam Ozdemir said the European Commission, the EU executive arm, needed to make clear any extension that was not possible. Local rights organization Transformative Justice Collective says a 36-year-old man convicted of trafficking 50 grams of heroin is scheduled to be hanged on Wednesday at the Southeast Asian city state Changi prison. Also, a 45-year-old woman convict who TJC identified as Saridewi Jamani is also set to be sent to the gallows on Friday. She was sentenced to death in 2018 for trafficking around 30 grams of heroin. According to TJC activist Kokila Annamalai, if carried out, she would be the first woman to be executed in Singapore since 2004, when 36-year-old hairdresser Yen Mei Wen was hanged for drug trafficking. TJC said the 2 prisoners are Singaporeans and their families have received notices setting the date of their executions. Relations. Here is the entertainment news and the global news for tonight. Popular Nollywood actress Peggy Ovire has arrested a production crew member on her movie set stealing generator, gas cylinder and other items. Sharing the video of the suspect's arrest on her Instagram page, the actress simply identified him as Chizuba. Recounting her encounter with the suspect on the set, Peggy explained that the production was being filmed at an apartment she provided for the crew to rent. Some aggrieved Muslim youth recently took to the streets of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to demonstrate their displeasure with famous singer Davido, who posted a video clip offensive to Islam on his Twitter page. Davido came under heavy criticism after sharing a clip of the music video of his signee Logos Olori's new single Jaye Lo, which captured people praying and dancing in front of a mosque. Many prominent Nigerian Muslims, including former aide to ex-President Muhammad Buhari, Bashar Ahmad, Senator Shehu Sani, actor Ali Nuhu, asked Davido to take down the video and apologize to Muslims for disrespecting their religion. The singer eventually bowed to pressure after 48 hours and deleted the controversial video. However, Davido did not apologize for his action. Angered by his arrogance, some Muslim youth in Maiduguri took to the street, setting a large banner of the singer on fire. In a video making the rounds on social media, the youths were captured publicly, setting Davido's picture ablaze. And here is the sports news for tonight. The Confederation of African Football has announced the 2023 edition of the prestigious CAF Awards will hold on December 11 in Morocco. This was made known through their official website on Tuesday. Africa's soccer governing body, however, hinted at the time and host city to be communicated in due course. The awards will recognize the outstanding players from club and country over the past year, with the CAF African Player of the Year in both the men's and women's category as the highlight of the event. Bayern Munich and Senegal star Sadio Mane is the current Men's Player of the Year, having won the award at the last edition. Asisa Toshola, who plies her trade for Barcelona Femeni, scooped the women's crown. Oshola has dominated the category in recent years, winning 2014, 16, 17, and 2019 and 2022. There are other several categories which will be contested for at the awards ceremony. The Nigerian National League has announced the date and venue for the 2022-2023 relegation playoffs. The relegation playoffs will be staged at the Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano State. The competition will run from August 6th to August 10th. 8 teams will battle to secure their positions in the NNL. Adamawa United, ABS FC, FWC champions, and Sokoto United will slug it out in the Northern Conference. In the Southern Conference, Sun City FC, Ikorodu City relegated to the Nationwide League. The Nigerian forward is expected to undergo his medical at the club soon. According to reports, after weeks of negotiation between Milan and Valerio, both clubs have now pulled through on a deal that will see the skillful winger move to the Rossoneri. Chukwueze will sign a long-term contract this week, valid until 2028, while the Rossoneri management has agreed a fee around 20 million euros plus 8 million euros in bonuses with their Spanish counterparts. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says the club will fight to stop Kyle Walker from going to Bayern Munich. Describing the defender as a key player for the team, Walker started as a substitute in the Champions League final where the City completed a historic treble last month, and the German champions are keen to bring him to Munich. But ahead of City's clash against Bayern in Tokyo on Wednesday, Guardiola insisted the 33-year-old was an incredibly important player. Guardiola was bullish when asked if Walker would be considered for selection against Bayern Munich, saying, "Of course, he is our player." The German champions are said to be intent on securing the signing of England's record scorer, whose contract with Spurs runs out in 2024. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, here is another look at the major stories. Police confirm suspects dead in Port Harcourt. IYC kicks against gas flaring in Niger Delta. DSS rearrests Mefili after bail. The CBN raises interest rates to 18.75%. Singapore to hang 2 convicts over drug trafficking. Muslim youth burn Davido's picture in Maiduguri. Morocco to host 2023 CAF Awards in December 11. I'm Vivian Douglas. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms. On Twitter, we're Atlantic TV Net. On Facebook and YouTube, we're Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and TikTok, we're Atlantic TV Network 1. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Have a good night.